this episode of Oregon Life.
Thanks for
right?
watching this episode
of Oregon Life.
Hello, I'm Frank Caruso, producer of Oregon Life, and we're back with part 2. As we begin this series, in part 2, Tom Day will continue talking about the 50 years of running and what it meant to have Miranda Bush by his side and not by his side. And as always, we are thankful to bring you this episode through the generous contributions of Torhorst Insurance. Torhorst Insurance is more than a sponsor of Oregon Life. Torhorst, like OCAmedia, has celebrated our community for over 45 years, fulfilling their insurance needs. Through their generous contributions, Torhorst Insurance has been a wonderful partner to OCAmedia, making it possible for us to produce episodes like Greenhaven Gardens, Keene Garlic, and highlighting the best of Oregon and surrounding areas. And that includes this episode of the Triathlete, Miranda Bush.
So I started running when I was 13, so I've been running for almost 50 years now. And during that process, I run marathons, half marathons, pretty much all distance of races. And I started doing duathlons, which is bike, run, bike, in my 40s. And I really wasn't interested in the triathlon until my children ran the Oregon Kids Triathlon every year for several years. So I started looking into that, and you know, my first triathlon was in 2016. I did it all myself, and quite frankly, it was a problem. So that's where I found Miranda. She coached me for several years, and then one year I did not have Miranda as a coach. And it was a year that I thought I knew what I was doing, training for these distance triathlons, and I ended up getting hurt. So that's one aspect of not only having a coach, but having specifically Miranda as a coach, is that we work through not only the mental aspects of what happens when you get hurt, if you get hurt, but we try to prevent that with a lot of different aspects of training. This year, especially strength training. She's a big advocate on strength training, and it has really, I feel better than I did 5 years ago when I trained for my first Ironman.
Hi, I'm Emily Kochan, and I work with Miranda. She's my coach. Been my coach for quite a long time, and also on the zone racing team. And you know, I've learned a lot about just working with Miranda and a coach. I wasn't really sure what to expect going into it, but having Miranda there has been really great for me. One thing that I've really noticed too that I focus on is these micro goals. So if you think about a big project or a big race or anything that can seem overwhelming, if you kind of put it into a micro goal, that helps you be able to get through your workout or your race or your big project. And I thought about this the other day when I was swimming, and I had a really hard swim, and I had it was, you know, as fast as I can for a 400. And in that moment, I knew it was hard, but I just tried to live in that moment. You know, how could I get through those 4 minutes? It's really only 4 minutes. So going into this long swim, knowing that on a micro level, I have this hard part for 4 minutes or 8 minutes or whatever the case may be, I was able to just kind of focus on that and get through that workout and know that it was going to help me get stronger. And it's hard in the moment, but being able to focus solely on that micro piece really helps me get through some of my workouts, like that swim, for example. Kind of wasn't sure what to expect when I came into having Miranda as a coach, and it's been very enlightening and eye-opening in a lot of different ways. I originally had this goal in mind of running a fast marathon, you know, just being able to really run fast, and being able to talk with Miranda through the different things, I realize it's more than just running a fast marathon. You know, how can you evolve physically, but also mentally and emotionally? And I've had a really good connection with Miranda and a deep connection on that level as well, where I trust her and I feel comfortable telling her about things that are happening in my life and being able to really grow and evolve as a person as well as a physical, in the physical perspective as an athlete. And so while I've gotten stronger from an athlete perspective, I've also gotten very much stronger from an emotional level, and being able to really think about me and truly what I need, and be able to kind of dive deep into my soul to be able to really evolve as a human, to be a better mother and a better wife and a better friend and daughter, and all those pieces by kind of looking inward to then also be better outward. And so Miranda's really helped me be able to see that and evolve as a human with that, as well as trying to get better with these personal records or personal bests, just through being a better me while training with her.
So I received many copies of my book this week, and I wrote the book mainly because it was a lifelong dream. I studied English literature in college. I love to write and to read. And so it just really became a dream of mine from when I was a young girl, and I would handwrite book after book. And so that was the kind of the impetus for writing a book, which is about my journey through what I've learned through endurance sports. I realized at one point in my life that I was living pretty disassociated from the world. I had this moment where I felt like, do people know how much I love them? And is this clear? Am I living as a real person on this earth? Because I felt very much like I was just going through motions of life and not really thinking about how I connected to others or how my actions impacted other people. And I really wanted to get my feet on the ground. And as I thought about that and did some other things to kind of go through that journey, I realized that I had been learning so much all along through being an endurance athlete. And when I started to reflect on my stories through racing, I really realized that some of these things I had already learned and already knew. I just needed to open my eyes to how they were really impacting my life. And then after I started to look at the world that way and thinking about how I thought and how I saw things and how I connected with others, I realized I could keep doing this. And in turn, it actually made me a better athlete. I was able to fully connect. I was able to feel real pain and real joy and have these emotions, and I didn't need to cut them off and disassociate, distract from them in order to really be in a moment in a race. And I could practice them in training, and I felt so alive. And so I thought, that's when I started writing my blog, because I thought somebody else has to have felt this way. And even if your journey doesn't involve endurance sports, I think that it can still be something that people can learn from. So in the book, I talk about my story and what I've learned and the different ways I've learned it and through the different people that I've interacted with. And then I offer some tips on how you can learn from me, not because I have it all figured out, but because I think storytelling is so important in sharing and in shared experiences in the world. And we're all human, and although we all have our unique paths and our different vehicles that we use for self-discovery, I feel like we all are here just trying to do the best we can and to love each other and get our feet on the ground and live in the moment.
watching this episode of Oregon Life.
Thanks for
Right?
watching this
Episode of Oregon Life.